Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're connecting from. It's such a pleasure having you here. If you're watching live, let me know in the chat that you're here. If you're watching the replay, thank you very much for coming back and listening to today's conversation. It always means a lot whenever I see the engagement in the chat, whenever I see your comments and your feedback later on. It does let me know that these conversations are not only having an impact on your life, but also on your personal style. I think I'm losing my voice. So forgive me if my voice sounds a bit unusual for me. Um, I've I, I've been working on speaking, so I've been speaking quite a lot recently. So I think my voice is taking a hit. But nonetheless, today's conversation will go on. And so for before I start any of these conversations, I like to start with a wellness check-in. I think it's important for us to take a moment to pause, to reflect, to center ourselves, to have a sense of how we're feeling, and really identifying what tools we need to feel grounded, to feel supported, and how do we want to intentionally show up for ourselves. So if you're here live, let me know in the chat. How are you feeling today? How is the weather in your neck of the woods? What are some things that you're working on? I would love to support you in any way that I can. So let me know in the chat how you're doing. If you're new to this space, I'm Salida Roberts. I'm the founder of Style to Impact, and I truly believe that representation is not just you being in the room or having a seat at the table, but it's also how you show up. Which is why it's super important for me when I'm working with my clients to really identify what matters to them most. How do they want to show up? What message do they want to send? And how do they want to feel in the clothes that they're wearing? Because once you build your personal style around how you want to show up and how you want to feel, then you become unstoppable. Your confidence is unmatched. And of course, you're going to every room and every space, owning the spaces that you're in, and of course setting yourself up for an amazing life that you're looking for. So glad that you can join me today. I appreciate you being here. Today I'm talking about style and how you can use it to say things about yourself, how you can use it to show up and really stand out. And so, I mean, you might have heard before when we think about, excuse me, when we think about the clothes that we wear, oftentimes we're like, it's a necessity, right? We live in a world which requires us to wear clothing. And when clothing became part of the way that we operated in society, it was based on this idea that we needed to survive. We needed to survive temperatures and weathers. We needed to survive the climate, the elements in the climate, and all of that. So clothing was built to be more of a function to protect us, to help us survive in the world. But as humans, as we evolved, as we change, as we start to bring more of ourselves into the spaces, we found that the way clothing start to be designed was there's an infusion of personality, there's an infusion of functionality. So for instance, pockets became a thing because realizing for men at the time, men were the only ones in the workforce, so the way clothing was built obviously was made for them. And one of the reasons why pockets were placed on their suits is because they had their pocket watch, they needed to put that in something. They had wallets, they needed to put that in something. So designers added pockets to clothing. For women, we weren't thought about in the whole process of what should we wear to show up for ourselves and making it functional, making it um, uh, uh, basically appealing for us, right? It was just, this is what you're going to wear, and it more than likely it looked like a replica of what the men were wearing, like the suits. We were given the same colors. We were given the same style to wear. Pockets wasn't something that was part of our clothing, right? Because as far as society concerned, women, we weren't working, we weren't allowed to work in some cases. And so there was no need for pockets on our clothing because we had no wallets, we had nothing to put in the pockets. But as time evolved, we noticed that pockets became a thing. Now, why am I telling you all of this? The reason why I'm telling you all of this is because style as it is right now has evolved over the years, have evolved over time, and more persons are using style as a tool to communicate who they are to in some cases people use clothing as a status symbol. Some people use clothing to differentiate themselves from others, right? In some cases it's you can identify or assumptions are made based on someone's culture or based on someone's identity based on what they wear, right? And so for me, it's important that when we think about the clothes that we wear, when I'm working with my clients in crafting what their personal style is and how they want to show up, it's important that you identify and you work on what do you want to say with the clothes that you wear, right? And how is it going to help you, right? Because we're using it as a tool to advance in your career, your business, uh, in your personal life, dating, everything. You have to get dressed for it. So why not use it as a tool? And so for me, when I think about the way I'm getting dressed and why I'm getting dressed and the places and spaces that I'm going into, I always look at whatever I'm wearing as that silent introduction to who I am. So while I may appear on camera and I'm doing these LinkedIn lives and I'm doing speaking engagements and workshops and I'm working with clients, like I by nature, I am super introverted. I'm introverted and I think I'm a little bit shy in some instances and awkward in some instances. And so for me, going to a networking event or going to a business function where I have to engage, sell myself, where I have to talk about my credibility, talk about what I do, like all those things make me uncomfortable. But I realize that as an entrepreneur, I realize that it's something, it's necessary. Like I have to talk about myself, I have to engage with people, I have to connect. But because I know myself as well, I know that when I walk into a space, unless someone, it feels very difficult for me to just walk up to someone and say, hi, I'm Salida, and engage in conversation. I'm awkward. I'm going to admit I'm very awkward. So when I'm getting dressed, I look at how can what I'm wearing introduce me before I say anything? How can my clothes speak on my behalf before I got a chance to say anything? And I can tell you every single event that I've attended, my clothing speaks for me first. When I walk into that room, because you think about it, you don't walk into a space, open the door and say, hi, everyone, I'm Salida, right? You walk in and people take notice, people observe, they're looking at you, they're evaluating, they're looking to see if there's something that they might have in common with you to then approach you. Or you may end up meeting a super extroverted person who likes engaging and likes connecting. So it puts you at ease. Case in point, I am volunteering for TEDx Atlanta. And I've never met any of the speakers. I've never met the organizers outside of just being on Zoom. And so we had our first meetup, meet and greet, walk through of the event space. And when I got dressed, first of all, I got dressed for me. How do I want to feel? But at the same time, I kept in mind, how do I want to come across in that space? And everybody, we got together for the first meeting. Everybody was like, hi, how are you doing? You introduced yourself. It was great. Had a lovely time. And then later that day, I went to the speaker mixer, right? Where we're going to meet the speakers. We're going to know, because I'm a speaker Chopra. That's basically where I am going to assist the speakers on the day of, making sure that they have everything that they need, making sure that they're centered and grounded and all of that, so that they can perform their best on stage. And so the mixer was an opportunity to meet the speakers, engage with them, learn a little bit more about them, and in a way identify which of the speakers we really want to assist on the day of, right? And one of the speakers, she walked up to me and she was like, okay, this is the second outfit I'm seeing you in, and you just look absolutely amazing. We just had passing conversation. We didn't had any deep conversations before that. But what I was wearing in the couple seconds that she saw me immediately said something to her. It immediately said, this person looks awesome. I need to say something. And from that, we were able to engage in a conversation that deepened our connection simply by the fact that I paid attention to how I wanted to feel on my clothes, and also how I wanted others to feel about me in the space that I'm in. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. How can you say things with your style? How can you wear clothes and get dressed to stand out in the spaces that you're going into? Because I'll imagine that whenever you go to a networking event, whenever you go to a business event, whenever you are putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there because you are looking for those opportunities that you want to attract, whether or not that's in your career or your business. So it is important that you don't shrink, that you don't hide, but that you stand out, but stand out in a way that is authentic to you, right? At no point in time should you get dressed or wear clothing that does not feel comfortable for you, because it will show up in the spaces that you're in. If you're wearing something too tight, you're going to be tugging at it. If you are accustomed to, let's say, for instance, your go-to footwear is sneakers, and for some reason or not, you decided on this day you're going to wear heels, because it's not something that you're accustomed to, you're going to feel super uncomfortable, right? So it's very, very important that you wear clothes that really aligns with who you are, right? Really wear clothes that aligns with who you are, and allow you in that 7 seconds or less. It's even less now because we get into a space and we just automatically, like, 2 seconds, and we're surveilling the place, and we're just like, who's in here, who do I want to connect in? And 7 seconds has been reduced. Our attention span is getting worse, but that's another topic, another conversation for another time. But when it comes to your clothes, even for those persons who are saying, I've had a lot of conversations in different spaces, in different rooms, where a person is like, oh, I don't care what I wear, right? I don't care about fashion. I don't care about style. The most important thing is my message. The most important thing is my expertise. The most important thing is how I'm going to serve my clients and how I'm going to do my job. All that's important. It is important. But guess what? Even if you don't care about fashion, you get dressed every single day. Every single day you dress yourself. And the way you decide to dress is speaking for you. So while you may think, I'm not into fashion, I don't care about this, I don't care about what I wear, you have made a decision, because to function in society, you cannot. I don't know if it's possible. I haven't seen it. It will make all of us uncomfortable. And I don't think any one of us wants to see or being in a position where we're having a meeting or a conversation with someone and they're totally naked. Nobody wants that, right? So even if you don't care about fashion, and I think the misconception with fashion is a couple of things. We're thinking it's frivolous because that's what we were told. It's like a very shallow woman or person, um, focus on style, focus on clothing. There's also that aspect of, where fast fashion is dominating and producing poor quality clothing, and just the cycle of it just is rapidly increasing. And so we're creating this mass production that at the end of the day goes to the landfill. So there's that part of you as well, right? Where you may say, you know what, I'm not going to pay attention to this fashion thing because the fashion industry is crazy. It's not inclusive. It's just waste. Like those are all valuable reason and valid reasons. And there's the idea that to be fashionable or to dress well means that you have to follow the trends. Like every summer, every winter, every season, that there's a trend, whether or not that's a style or a color that you have to follow. You don't. If you choose to, that's your choice, but you don't have to follow the trend. So while you may think that fashion is not important, is not for you, style is not important, you get dressed every single day. So keep that in mind, that you get dressed every single day, and whatever you decide to wear is speaking on your behalf, because you are a total package, right? You don't, looking at me, you might not know my level of expertise, credibility, any of those things, but you make certain assumptions about me. And for good or worse, and I always hope that in every case that we are judging people not from the lens of bias, but from, we're trying to connect, right? We're trying to find that thread that shows that we have um similarities and connections. And one of the things about clothing that I like about clothing, that it helps us to lean into aspects of our identity, our culture, or self-belief. So if I'm from from one cultural background and I see someone wearing a piece of clothing that signifies or identifies, like, oh, this person's from a similar culture with me, from with like me, right? Then it means that I'm going to be so happy and so engaging, wanting to connect with that person, to learn more about them, to learn, how can we become friends? How can we do business together? Because what they were wearing, I saw a connection in that, right? So clothing, when you lean into it, does allow you to really connect with someone based on your identity, your culture, and of course your self-belief. When I talk about self-belief, I mean, like, how do you feel about yourself? Like, when I'm stepping into spaces, like giving you that example where the speaker was like, oh my gosh, you look so awesome. I've seen 2 outfits and you look so awesome. And I'm going to tell you this. I wasn't wearing anything, because this is another misconception, is that it to look good based on how you want to show up requires a lot of money. Stay tuned for the photo that I'm going to post on my LinkedIn, where I'm going to talk about TEDx Atlanta, and of course, how to go and get your ticket to come and support the speakers. I'm going to post a photo, and I'm going to tell you this. What I was wearing cost me $50 plus tax. The shirt that I was wearing, I got it on sale for $17 from White House Black Market. The skirt that I was wearing, I got it for $16 and change. And that was from H&M. The shoes that I was wearing it's a very old shoes, but at the time I think I paid about 30 or 25. So the overall cost of that outfit was 50 something. Let's call it $60. But the way it fit and the way I wore it and the way I styled the pieces is what created that impact, what shows my credibility and my likability and my trust. That is what, so it's not the cost, it's how you put it together. So I want you to think about what you're wearing right now. Think about what you're wearing right now. Why did you choose what you're wearing? If you're live in the chat, let me know. Based on what you're wearing right now, why did you choose that particular outfit? Why did you choose to wear the thing that you're wearing right now? I say I have a couple of friends here with me on LinkedIn. So I want to thank Rhonda. I want to thank Simone. I want to thank Leticia for being here. Thank you all very much for just joining me in conversations, because this is what I always want, to have a space where we can come together as women and have these type of conversations. So let me know, why did you choose what you're wearing today? The choice of clothing that you're wearing today can come from a couple of things. Maybe you're not feeling well, so you decided to wear something that's comfortable, that makes you feel, it's like a comfort blanket that makes you feel warm and fuzzy. Maybe you decided to choose something that feels, because you wanted to step into a space where you can command a room and, feel powerful and feel strong, and so you wore something like that. But whatever you decide to wear tells a story about you. It tells how you feel about yourself and how you want others to perceive you. And so clothing in itself is an indication of your mood. It's an indication of your energies. It's an indication of how do you want to be perceived, right? Because if you think about your choice of clothing today that you're wearing, it's connected to your mood, it's connected to your energy, it's connected to your confidence, it's connected to how you want to show up. And research has shown, it's not just me talking, right, from my own experiences, to how the way I dress impacts the way I show up, and it impacts the way I connect with others. But research have shown that clothing impacts how well we perform, what's our attitude, how confident we feel in a space, right? How many times have you gotten dressed, walk into a space, and then you look at everyone else and you're like, you start feeling a sense of maybe insecurity. You start feeling self-aware that maybe you didn't quite hit the mark when it came to what you should have worn in that space, right? And so your confidence drop, your self-esteem takes a little bit of hit, and it may affect your performance in terms of doing your job, performance in terms of going into that room and really saying, like, the goal for you being in that space was to connect with 4 or 5 other persons. And because you don't feel as confident in the clothes that you're wearing, the energy that you're getting, it doesn't allow you to raise your hand, to speak up, to ask for help, to ask for what you want, right? And so I want to, when you think about your personal style and how can you really create a style that speaks on your behalf every single time and indicate the things, the qualities about you that you want your style to indicate. I want you to start looking at, let's look at your current style versus your ideal style. Your current style. Is your current style the way that you want to feel and show up? Does it reflect that? Is your current style built on the idea of what you think you should wear based on how you think others want you to show up in a space? And what I mean by that is that most of us, especially in the corporate, coming from that corporate background, were told, wear the black and white suit. Don't wear anything to stand out too much, right? Don't be too much. Don't be too loud. Don't be too, tone down your look. Is your current style that? then look at, what do you want? What does your ideal style look like based on who you are as a person? What does your ideal style look like? Is that, obviously, you want to show up, you want to take up space, you want to take up space. What does that look like in terms of your ideal style? What does that look like? And the second thing that helps you to really embody the style that you want to be able to communicate the message that you wish to, and to have your style represent in your be represented in your personal brand, that strengthens your personal brand, is what I ask my clients to do, is to identify three words of how you want your clothes to make you feel. What are three words that you would use, or you can identify that you want your clothes to make you feel? For instance, one of my words is that my clothes, and I'm talking my entire, like, from in clothing in terms of image as well, from my hair right down to my shoes, I need to feel powerful. I'm 5 feet. I'm super petite. One of the things that I constantly get, and I'm being misjudged on, I'm being judged on, is because I'm 5 feet, I'm super petite. I'm always, or encounter situations where I'm being underestimated because of my size. People assume because of my size, I am younger than I am. And some persons equate that to expertise and capability. And so for me to combat that, because I can't walk into a room and say, I am not a teenager. Here are my qualifications. Here's what I have, right? As I walk into a room, I don't get that chance immediately to do that. So the clothing that I'm going to wear, how I present myself, needs to make me feel powerful and project power based on my definition of power. So my definition of power, when it translates to clothing, first thing, heels. That's my power piece. I am taller than I am. So a couple of inches elevates my posture, elevates my look. It makes me feel powerful. And it projects a level of confidence whenever I'm engaging with someone that says, okay, she may be petite, she may look younger than she is, but let me hear what she has to say. So that's my, when I say power, and a piece in terms of my clothing that allows me to do that. So I want you to think about, what are three words that you want your clothes to make you feel. Then once you have identified those three words, I want you to think about what specific style or pieces of clothing, or the way that you get dressed, that's going to allow you to make that first impression. Like I just gave you the example of powerful being one of my words. And whenever I'm going into a business meeting, whenever I'm networking, whenever I'm going into any setting, that I want to feel powerful and I want someone to feel my confidence and my power, is to wear heels. So that's my power piece. For you, that specific piece, based on what your definition, your three words are, maybe the way that your clothing fit you, like tailoring, the accessories that you use, the colors that you decide to use. Those are all aspects or elements that's going to allow you to project and feel the way you want to feel based on those three words. And once you have that, it means that you are now going to project the image, project the message that you want to, right? Based on how you want to be seen. So, how do you want to be seen? How do you want to be seen when it comes to your personal style, when it comes to what you wear? How do you want to be seen? Do you want to be seen as someone who is very formal? That means that you're focusing on tailoring, you're focusing on fit, you're focusing on clean lines. So you don't like the frills and the ruffles. Pencil skirt, maybe something is a piece that fits into that formal style type. Or maybe you want to be seen as edgy, right? Have a bit of a more of your personality coming out, where it's self-expression and creativity, especially if you're in that space, especially if you're in a creative space, or you really want to express more of your personality, you want to feel more creative, then you may adopt that edgy look. That edgy look, some of the pieces that really allows you to have that desire look is mixed prints, leather, just having more of an influence, or what I call like an influencer style, right? Where you will wear a dress with a pants. Like you don't go according to the rules. You create your own rules, own way of expressing yourself. Or maybe you want to be seen as unique, right? You may have and you can have a combination of ways that you want to look. You don't have to fit into one box, because you're not one dimensional, right? So you may decide, okay, I want to feel unique. I have a very formal dress way of dressing. The environment that I'm going into requires a more formal way of dressing, but I want to have like a little touch of myself, a little splash of self-expression and uniqueness. And some ways that I've seen that being expressed is, if you wear socks, it's like wearing funny socks, wearing colorful socks, bold socks. Sneakers is a big way of showing your uniqueness. Like you may have one particular type of sneakers that you like. Maybe you like sneakers that have, like what I call bling, like it's shiny, it's sparkly. Or maybe you like sneakers with unconventional design or look, right? And so that's how you really get to not only embody your style by looking at your current and your ideal style and seeing where that conflict is, identifying your 3 words, how you want your clothes to make you feel. What are some pieces that's going to allow you to project that image and that message that you want? And then, of course, identifying how you want to be seen. Is it formal? Is it edgy? Is it unique? And deciding what are those pieces that's going to allow you to step into your authentic style, that's going to allow you to, whenever you popped on Zoom, that immediately someone is going to send you that private message and say, oh my gosh, I love your background, I love how you look, I love how you're presenting yourself. Or you walk into a room and immediately people are drawn to you, right? And if people are being drawn to you, that means that they're interested in learning more about you, which means that you are now creating opportunities for yourself. Like, I'm super big on us understanding what is it our clothes say about us first. Usually whenever I'm working with my clients and they're thinking about their personal style and developing their personal style and what that looks like and how they want to show up, it's always this part where they're thinking, oh, I need to buy clothes, right? I need to go and buy new clothes. I need an entirely new wardrobe. I need to speak on stage, or I'm going to an interview, I'm going into a new career opportunity, and I want to look this way. But I always say the first step is self-reflection. How do you want to feel in your clothes? That's the first thing. Once you get clear on how you want to feel in your clothes, then it's what do you want to say? What do you want your clothes to say about you? And that's the transformational part. That's the part where we take how you want to feel in your clothes, what's the message, and then we create your personal style that connects the two so that you feel more confident, which then allows you to make a bigger impact in your career. So if you're looking at your wardrobe right now and you're looking at where you're going in your career, your business right now, right? Or maybe you're looking and you feel stuck. It's like, I need to get unstuck. I need to get out of this style rut that I'm in. I need to start projecting the image and the message that's going to allow me to connect with the opportunities that I'm looking for. Then I want to invite you to schedule, book a style starter experience. Basically, what the style starter experience is, it's exactly that. It gives you the foundation on how to, one, define your personal style, two, understand how to dress your body type as your body is right now, not the body that you had yesterday or the one that you're hoping for tomorrow, but the person that you are today. Knowing what are those pieces that you need in your closet, like I talked about before, is what's going to allow you to reflect the way that you want to be seen. And so we work together in crafting your personal style, crafting what understanding what are those pieces that is going to allow you to project that image, and how do you want to dress for, how tips and tools to dress for your body type. If that's something that you're interested in, like you're at that space where you're like, okay, I just need to jumpstart my personal style. I need to understand the fundamentals and the foundations of getting dressed for the opportunities that I want. Then, as I said, I want to invite you to send me a DM and I'll send you the link and more details in order to sign up for a style starter experience. And so, of course, I look forward to having the opportunity to work with you with your personal style. If you are joining me, as I said, thank you very much. I see the chat is going. Thank you all very much for joining me. If we haven't connected as yet, if this is your first time joining me in this space and on my LinkedIn Live, or you're watching me on YouTube, I invite you to click that follow button so that you can be notified whenever I'm sharing or having conversations like this. Resources that I share as well on my LinkedIn, ways to work with me and ways in which that you can improve your style to make sure that you have the confidence that you need to show up in your business and career. Until next time, remember that representation is not just you having a seat at the table or you being in the room, but it's also how you show up. Thank you all very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.